The morning sun crept slowly over the dusty outskirts of Harmony Creek, casting long shadows across the cracked pavement of Route 66. The air smelled of motor oil, rust, and the faint sweetness of honeysuckle growing along the roadside. A hand-painted sign hung crooked above a small garage. The letters faded but still readable. It said simply, Mike's Garage. The wooden doors creaked in the breeze, and inside, the clang of metal against metal echoed like a heartbeat. Mike Peterson stood beneath a lifted pickup truck, his hands black with grease, his grey work shirt stained with years of honest labor. He was 52 years old, with calloused palms and deep lines around his eyes that told stories of struggle and survival. His wife had passed 3 years ago from cancer, leaving him with hospital bills that devoured every dollar he earned. His small garage barely kept the lights on. Some months. He ate mac and cheese for every meal just to make the rent. But Mike never complained. Dad always said that a man's worth was measured not by what he owned, but by how he treated others. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness and second chances, and standing up for what is right, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel, and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Because stories like this remind us that humanity still exists in every corner of the world. It started on a cold February evening, nearly a year ago. Mike was about to close up when he heard the unmistakable rumble of a motorcycle pulling into his lot. He stepped outside and saw a massive Harley-Davidson sputtering and coughing, ridden by a man who looked like he had been carved from granite. The biker wore a black leather cut with the red and white Hells Angels patch on the back. Tattoos covered his arms, and his beard was thick and wild. His name was Bear, and his expression was pure frustration. Bear kicked the stand down and stared at the smoking engine. "Carburetor is shot," he growled to himself. Mike walked over slowly, wiping his hands on a rag. "Sounds like more than the carburetor," he said quietly. "Could be the fuel line, too. I can take a look if you want." Bear studied the old mechanic with suspicious eyes. "How much?" Mike shrugged. "Let me see what is wrong first." For the next 2 hours, Mike worked on that Harley like it was his own. He replaced the carburetor, cleaned the fuel injectors, and discovered a crack in the fuel line that would have left Bear stranded on the highway. When he finished, the engine purred like a sleeping lion. Bear reached for his wallet. "What do I owe you?" Mike shook his head. "Nothing. You were stranded. It is what decent people do." Bear stared at him for a long moment, searching his face for a trick or an angle. He found none. Just a tired old man who had chosen kindness over profit. "I will not forget this," Bear said slowly. Then he mounted his bike and roared off into the night. Over the next 12 months, word spread through the Hells Angels chapter. Whenever a brother had bike trouble near Harmony Creek, they went to Mike. And every single time, Mike fixed their motorcycles for free. 50 bikes in total. Broken chains, worn brakes, cracked gaskets, blown tires. He never asked for a penny. He never expected anything in return. He simply did what he believed was right. Some of the bikers tried to pay him anyway. Mike always refused with a gentle smile. "Just pay it forward," he would say. "Help someone else when you can." 1 year to the day after Bear first rolled into that dusty lot, Mike arrived at his garage to find something strange. The street was quiet. Too quiet. He unlocked the wooden doors and stepped inside, flipping on the fluorescent lights that buzzed and flickered overhead. Then he heard it. A rumble. Low at first, like distant thunder. But it grew. And grew. The windows began to rattle. Tools vibrated on their hooks. The concrete floor seemed to hum beneath his feet. Mike stepped outside and froze. Motorcycles. Everywhere. 200 Harleys lined the street in perfect formation, their chrome gleaming in the morning light, leather vests covered in patches. The red and white Hells Angels insignia blazed like fire against black leather. Engines idled in a thunderous chorus that shook the air itself. At the front of the formation stood Bear, arms crossed, a rare smile cracking his weathered face. Behind him stood men and women of all ages, all united by the same patch, the same brotherhood. Mike's heart pounded. His legs felt weak. For a moment, he thought he was in trouble. "What is happening?" he stammered. Bear walked forward slowly. "1 year ago, you helped me when you did not have to. You asked for nothing. Over the past 12 months, you have fixed 50 of our bikes without taking a single dollar." He paused, his voice thick with emotion. "Our family does not forget that kind of honor." Bear raised his hand, and the engines went silent. The sudden quiet was almost sacred. One by one, the bikers dismounted and approached the garage. Some carried toolboxes, others carried lumber and paint cans. A group of women arrived in pickup trucks loaded with furniture, appliances, and boxes of food. For the next 8 hours, 200 Hell's Angels transformed Mike's crumbling garage into something beautiful. They replaced the rotting roof. They poured new concrete. They installed new lights, new tools, and a brand new hydraulic lift. They painted the walls and hung a new sign that read, "Mike's Garage, Harmony Creek's Finest." Mike stood in the middle of it all, tears streaming down his weathered cheeks. "I cannot accept this," he whispered. "This is too much." Bear placed a heavy hand on his shoulder. "You already earned it, brother. Every bolt you tightened, every late night you worked, every time you chose to help instead of profit." He reached into his cut and pulled out an envelope. Inside is $20,000 in cash. "This is from all of us. For your wife's hospital bill, for your future, for everything you deserve." Mike's knees buckled. He would have fallen if Bear had not caught him. "You gave us more than repairs," Bear said quietly. "You reminded us what honor looks like. You are family now." As the sun set over Harmony Creek, 200 motorcycles roared to life one final time. Bear mounted his Harley and looked back at Mike, who stood in the doorway of his rebuilt shop, still clutching the envelope, still crying. "If you ever need us," Bear called out, "you know who to call." Mike raised his hand in a silent wave, unable to speak. And with a thunderous roar, the Hell's Angels disappeared down Route 66, leaving behind a man whose faith in humanity had been restored and a garage that would never struggle again. And before we end, we have one special request for you. Okay, folks, let's keep this going. In the comments below, type "kindness returns." Let's show Mike Peterson and everyone who helps others without expecting a thing in return that we're standing with them. Because sometimes the greatest rewards aren't about the money you make, but about what you choose to give away. It's about lending a hand. If this story touched your heart, please give us a like, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more stories of real people making a real difference. And always remember, true wealth, it isn't measured in dollars and cents. It's measured in the lives you change. It's about the impact you have on your community, one act of kindness at a time. So let's all try to pay it forward a little more each day. You never know what kind of difference you might make. Thanks for watching.